Hi, Chris from Channel X TV here with Mark Rudge from TecCom. We're here at eBay's HQ with Emotive to discuss motors, the motors industry. So Emotive and ecommerce have put this event on. Mark, welcome, how are you and what do you do?
Well, I represent TecCom in the UK. TecCom is a business unit within the Tech Alliance organisation. We specialise in the provision of web-based services that deliver integration and automated electronic trading between buyers and suppliers in the independent aftermarket.
So that's a real mouthful. Taking it down to me as a consumer,
Okay.
how does it help me? I'm buying from a seller on eBay who's buying from a supplier. I'm not even sure who you're describing as the buyer, whether it's the person on eBay that I'm buying from as the buyer, or whether they're the buyer from the...
So the person on eBay is the consumer.
Yep.
They are the recipient of the goods, ultimately.
And I want it to fit my car.
Yeah. So you will place an order on eBay, for example, but that order needs to be fulfilled by the seller on eBay, who in turn probably does not stock that product themselves. Many eBay sellers will operate a dropship policy with the suppliers that they trade with, which in effect means that the seller has no warehouse, no stock holding, but does have a commercial agreement with the supplier that says, I will send you the orders that I have achieved through my website e-commerce activity. You will fulfill them on my behalf. I will pay you an agreed rate, and you will deliver to the end customer, the consumer.
And this is quite normal, because when I take my car in for a service, half the time the garage doesn't have the parts, but they get it in for the service and then they order it from somewhere and it arrives in time for them to fit it, give me my car back at the end of the day. So this is normal in the motors industry.
It's a very, very similar process. The multitude of cars in the UK car park is such that your average repairer simply cannot have on hand the range of parts that are necessary to satisfy demand. They simply don't know what's coming in next. So what they use instead are motor parts distributors or factors to provide that service to them. So typically they can pick up the phone and speak to their motor factor, or indeed do it online, and within half an hour or so the parts that they require to do the job on the car that's just turned up will also turn up. Hence, you and I can take our car pretty much wherever we want at the drop of the hat and be fairly confident that within a couple of hours the required items for the work that needs to be done can be done.
So this is really interesting. When I order a part on eBay and that eBay seller is then going to order the part, how does the data transfer work between their computer and the supplier to ensure the right products are coming down the line, so that ultimately I as the consumer get the right product?
Okay, so if we look at what we're doing with the Volo ERP system, we're taking the data held in there, which is managed by ecommerce, and ensuring that ultimately that relates to the correct part. But when that data comes to us, we're using parts references that are known and agreed with the relevant product manufacturer and supplier. The point is that the product supplier brings that data to the customer in the first instance. That allows them to create the listings on the various marketplaces and various channels, and ensures that we're all talking the same language when it comes to specificity of a part.
Now, sometimes as a consumer, I'll be honest, I'm going to get things wrong. Like maybe I've got an American model of a car, or a European, and driver's side, near side is obviously switched. If I order the wrong part, can you help with the returns process for those parts?
Well, we have a process that enables the efficient return of a product between the trade buyer and its supplier. As far as the consumer is concerned,
I'll obviously have to return it to the eBay seller I bought it from.
Yeah. So there, in a way, there are two separate returns processes that take place there. But certainly, once we get back into the trade scenario, then absolutely, we have an automated returns portal that will enable a fully integrated and transparent returns process. It's also very user-friendly, wherein the parts seller, i.e. the person who sold the goods to you, not necessarily the supplier who distributed the goods to you, can create a claim, can upload picture and video evidence to support that claim, and transmit that automatically to the product supplier. The product supplier, therefore, can review the claim without ever having to physically receive the product. If it wants to receive the product, then it can issue a return shipping note and arrange for a courier to take that product back. But if it doesn't need to do that, it can simply approve a credit, supply a replacement, perhaps tell the claim creator to throw the part, and the job is done more quickly, more efficiently, and with transparency to both the claim creator and the claim recipient.
Now, I'm guessing most of the larger retailers in the motors parts market are already using TecCom, but for those retailers who are perhaps new to this and they want to work with larger suppliers and adopt a dropship model to expand their business, how can they get in touch with you? How can they start using your database?
Yeah, there are a number of different answers to that question. The quickest and easiest way for a new buyer to come on board is to register on the TecCom website. Access to it is free. And on the basis that that buyer has a relationship with product suppliers, then again, an electronic relationship with that supplier can be facilitated free of charge through our service. It works for the supplier because, of course, they want to automate inbound stock inquiries and orders, and obviously it works for the buyer because it gives access to multiple suppliers through a single source.
And I think possibly the most important thing for these buyers, the eBay retailers acting as the buyer for the supplier, is that they can actually see in real time what stock's available, so that they're not in any danger of overselling on eBay and suddenly having to give a refund because they can't get the product. They know it's in stock, they know the price, they can see the availability, and because it's all done electronically, no more phone calls ringing up saying, have you got one of these, and ringing around looking for a product.
Yeah, and those phone calls will still take place. But the point is, we can cater both scenarios. We can cater for the scenario where the seller happens to have a trade counter and has customers the other side saying, I need a part for this car, have you got it? And they may not have it in stock locally. So we can automate the process wherein they can get that information in real time off of the screen, rather than having to pick the phone up to the supplier. And similarly, for those organisations who sell over e-commerce channels, our provision of up-to-date, real-time availability information ensures that they can amend their online listings. Because of course, I could go and list 1,000 items for sale on eBay, and I do that today, and I know that today my supplier has all of those items in stock. In 24 hours time,
It might have changed.
or maybe even in 2 hours time it might have changed. So regular refreshment of that availability data is critical to maximising customer satisfaction and minimising the risk of not being able to fulfil an order. So we can help in both situations.
Mark, thank you so much for your time. To find out more, go to the TecCom website or speak to Ecomotors or Emotive, or indeed Volvo themselves. Mark, thank you.
Thank you.